In Caucasian People News, Kim Kardashian is being called to the carpet for posting that we should free the Menendez brothers. You know, these are the two brothers from the early 90s who went to prison for killing their parents. And lately, there have been a lot of documentaries. Ryan Murphy did a series on Netflix called Monsters that was released this past month, I believe. And I watched it. Monsters was good. Something is wrong with Ryan Murphy. He is very talented, okay? But something is not right in here. But it's okay. I get it, okay? Because some of the things that I'm into, you know what I'm saying? My husband looks at me sometimes like, what's wrong with you? And then after a while, he get into it. Like the dream eaters. Oh my God. If y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know I'm always like posting a dream. Excuse me. See, this is why you shouldn't smoke. Kids, you shouldn't smoke. Don't smoke. Don't pick up this bad habit, okay? Don't be like me. I'm a bad example. Okay? Don't follow me. Okay? Don't follow me. Do what I say, not what I do. All right. So yeah, the dream eaters. The dream eaters be saying the weirdest shit in their little songs. And for some reason, it's my shit. Like if y'all hear me singing I hope you're riding in hell. I hope you're riding. Like I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I understand people's fascination with the macabre. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand people's fascination with things that are of a dark nature. You know what I'm saying? But I am kind of wondering, y'all, if we are either responding to the truth of a situation, like the Menendez brothers were two sons who were being molested in their household by their parents. And when they grow up and shoot their parents in the face with some shotguns, it's because they were traumatized for years. Or the narrative that these are two rich, stupid brats that wanted their parents' money. And so they murdered them in cold blood in a very, again, macabre way. Okay. I don't know. I feel like essentially when I was looking at these two people look like, especially with the way their face is formed, something about it makes me feel like something was absolutely done to them in their formation years. Something like it's something about it. And that's also why I feel like they should not be let out of prison either. Because essentially, most crazy Caucasian men's story has something to do with being abused in one way or another by a parent. It's not just us. Oh, yes. If you look into the history of most serial killers, or you know what I'm saying, people who we've done stories and documentaries about that have killed large numbers of people in messed up ways, a lot of the times they have some extreme childhood abuse that took place, being locked in closets, being molested, being beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the book I read back in the day, The Child Called It. He didn't turn into a psycho killer, but goddamn, based on how his mama treated him, he could have. That lady locked that little boy in the bathroom and made him clean the bathroom with bleach and closed the door until he passed out. Stabbed him one time. Like it was, and then the daddy and the other brothers in the house just watched the shit happen and did nothing. It was insane. When I tell you, we read that book in high school. So the things that people do to their kids will absolutely show up in them being like this, doing some crazy macabre shit. You know, so y'all read that book too. So I don't know whether we are having a faulty empathetic response to them or not, because you know they're like, oh no, they're just spoiled brats that killed their parents. And I'm like, is it really ever that simple? Is it really ever that simple? I feel like it's never really that simple. And I think that you don't want to hold people accountable for what they do if they match a certain image. And you know, that goes across the board. That goes across the board. That's the reason why, you know, everybody gets so mad when people talk about Chris Brown or people talk about Diddy. Like no matter how much evidence that somebody is violent or somebody is abusive, y'all will find a way to make everybody else out to be the problem. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's happening with them, but also it's happening with if something did happen with their parents. Because people's response to empathizing with the parents, like, oh, these two spoiled brats, but it's like, how did they get that way? And I'm not saying it's always the parents' fault, but it's a very interesting conversation that's going on around the Menendez brothers. And I really don't think they should get out. So when Kim Kardashian got up there and was like, oh, free them. I'm like, girl, no, why? So that they can get out and become fucking cult members and then victimize people. Like, I feel like something probably did happen to them, but I also feel like that doesn't mean that they should be allowed out in society with the rest of us so we could see if they really safe or not. Like, nah. Nah. I think at 17, 18, 20 something, they were 20 something. At 20 something, you need to understand that being stupid enough to walk into the front door of your mansion and kill your two parents with shotguns you purchased, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is crazy. So when she did this, I'm like, aren't there people? And I know it pissed people off because the black man who I had not heard about until he passed, y'all forgive me for not remembering his name, Maurice, something with an M, but the man that just recently was put to death behind a murder that he didn't commit after they found out DNA evidence that he didn't do it, and they still allowed that man to have the death penalty. That's why I don't agree with the death penalty. I feel like imprisoning people for life is good enough. Locking them in a small box is good enough. Marcellus Williams, thank you. Thank you very much. So I don't agree with the death penalty. I also feel like something probably did happen to the Menendez brothers for them to turn into this. And I also feel like it is still crazy behind these eyes. In these two pictures, I still feel like if you let them out, they're going to do shit to other people. I'm sorry. Yeah, and being stupid enough to tell the therapist. They told a lot of people. They were just being extremely ignorant about it. Like it definitely was giving. It's definitely given, I thought, because we were rich white kids, because they're Cuban, but y'all appear white. These look like two white men. These don't look like two, Hispanic Latina men. Did y'all look like two white men. Okay? They were bragging. Yes. It's a lot that makes me feel like they should stay exactly where they are. Kim Kardashian and all of you other I feel like misguided empathetic people. I think a lot of it is misguided. But Kim, she was told not to get involved. Okay. Kim Kardashian's efforts to reform the criminal justice and prison system continue with the plea for the infamous Menendez brothers. The reality TV queen recently penned an emotional essay asking for Lyle and Eric Menendez freedom. The brothers were convicted of murdering their parents in 1989 and were incarcerated without parole. Okay, hold up. Wait a minute. I want to see the letter. I want to see the letter, you guys. Let's see. Kim Kardashian essay Menendez in the search already. Thank you. Where is it? 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 Girl, I'm gonna have to find things that I didn't pull up prior because I didn't know I would want it. I didn't know I didn't know I want to. I didn't think I want to. Okay. I have spent time with Lyle and Eric. They are not monsters. I think this is her. Now Kim Kardashian, who's currently studying law, has penned an essay. Yes, okay. She said, I have spent a lot of time with Lyle and Eric. They are not monsters, she wrote for the NBC News after visiting them in September. They are kind, intelligent, and honest men. In prison, they both have exemplary disciplinary records. They have earned multiple college degrees, worked as caregivers for elderly incarcerated individuals in hospice, and been mentors in college programs committed to giving back to others. Kim said, when I visited the prison 3 weeks ago, one of the wardens told me he would feel comfortable having them as neighbors. She added that 24 family members, including their parents, siblings, have released statements fully supporting Lyle and Eric and have respectfully requested that the justice system free them. Kim went on to say how it was a different time when the brothers were tried. She noted how they were ridiculed in skits on SNL, turned into monsters, and sensationalized eye candy by the media, and portrayed as two arrogant, rich kids from Beverly Hills who killed their parents out of greed. There was no room for empathy, let alone sympathy, she said. Eric and Lyle had no chance of a fair trial against this backdrop, Kim continued, noting there were also limited resources for male sexual abuse victims and minimal public awareness of the trauma of male sexual abuse. Kim said the complex nature of the case is why she doesn't believe they should have to serve life sentences. Had this crime been committed in trial today, I believe the outcome would have been dramatically different, she added. Kim also made it clear that she doesn't condone their actions. The killings are not excusable. I want to make that clear, she stressed. Nor is there behavior before, during, or after the crime. But we should not deny who they are today in their 50s. We owe it to those little boys who lost their childhood, who never had a chance to be heard, helped, or saved, she concluded. Mm. Do we? Do we? Do we, Kim? Do we owe it to them? Is that right? I don't know. 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 Cause see, what nationality is the warden? Because when the warden says that, it's like that may be the case. But also it could be the case that y'all find ways to empathize with people who look like you and believe that they're not the monsters that they are simply because you can see yourself in them. And we all do this. We all do this. We all do this. This is why I try to really be, objective when I look at situations. But I also still have to look at situations for how they usually are taking place. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like essentially, even though these two men, I feel like maybe they should be like released on something else. You know what I'm saying? Like a halfway house type of situation. You know what I'm saying? Like something where they still have to be heavily not guarded but watched and surveilled. Because I do feel like men like this, they can pretend to be good for a very long time. And then they get out and they get in the world, they are re-triggered, and what happens? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like essentially, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. But I do feel like no celebrity like Kim Kardashian should really be speaking out in such a way, because I think it may lend to the mindset that a lot of delusional women have with infantilizing men in prison. Like there's a entire what fucking genre of the way women will find, men in prison to latch on to, fall in love with, and then therefore become these delusional aides in whatever those men want to do. Let's not even talk about how a lot of the women that are in jail because of things they've done for men with men, which is why like the idea is to break the mentality of you always resting your value on how men see you, because essentially that will lead you to bad places a lot of the times. You have to be able to look at a situation and be like, no. Like you sometimes, and I hate to say ego because I don't think it's necessarily ego. It might just be fuck self-respect. I don't know. Scott learns, power of self-love. Like, bitch, I don't know. It might be self-love, but I feel like there has to be a switch in your mind that puts your own feelings, your own existence, your own image first before anybody else's. Like there's something that has to, switch on. And I feel like a lot of women fall into like these pitfalls with these men becoming so attracted to what makes them charismatic, and then listening to their sad stop stories like that y'all, that mind frame, like that whole chain of events, how that happens is really how you get women in relationships with people like Diddy, people like R. Kelly, some other niggas that have done way less stuff, but I'm not gonna name them in that same instance. But you see a lot of women that go through a lot with men. It is because those men have some horrifying story that nobody else knows about but that woman, and she has found a way to trauma bond and empathize with him to the point that she will self-sacrifice and also sacrifice everybody else around her for that man's feelings. And I feel like that's this same mindset that Kim Kardashian is talking about, because she's literally saying to see them as the little boys they were. Like, we owe something to those little boys. And it's like, yeah, we owe something to those little boys, but they're not little boys anymore. They're not. And I feel like this is a case by case basis, but that mindset is very dangerous to me. And that's why I feel like somebody as influential as Kim should not have publicly said anything regarding this story, because it does lend to the mindset of a lot of women that will, self-sacrifice in relationships with men who are in prison. And it don't always have to be people as famous as the Menendez brothers. Y'all seen Love After Lockup. Y'all know these niggas be nobody from nowhere with nothing, and some woman is spending her hard earned 9 to 5 401k money on whatever bullshit he wants. Girl, Love After Lockup, did y'all see? Did y'all see that lady work a regular job with 2 kids, then brought this nigga with a tape, you know what I'm saying, home from prison, and now he's spending all of her money, girl, $12,000 on some rims or some shit, $1,200 on some rims. It was 1,200 because I don't think she had no 12,000, girl.